What's up YouTube, Dell here from Zephyr, and today I'm bringing you a dedicated combo guide for Speedroids. That's right, one of the decks we received in the legendary Arc 5 decks. And where better place to start than the brand new card in the form of the Speedroid Daruma Knocker, arguably one of the best support cards of the three legendary Arc 5 decks. So we're going to start off with this combo, which just requires you to utilize your Daruma Knocker by revealing it in the hand to send a Speedroid card from the deck to the grave, except itself, and we're going to want to get rid of our duplicate. You then get to special summon the Daruma Knocker to the field. We can then use the graveyard effect of the duplicate, which will allow us to reduce the level of Daruma Knocker by 1, but special summon this out. Now, you could perform a synchro summon if you wanted to. We're not going to want to do that. We're actually just going to want to link these both together, as we are now officially locked into wins for the rest of the turn, but we're going to be able to go into our Hide Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter. So now what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to trigger the Daruma Knocker's effect in the graveyard first. So this one is if it is sent to the graveyard from the field to the grave, you get to add a Speedroid spell or trap from the deck to the hand, and we're going to want to grab the Speedroid Scratch. We're then going to be able to use the High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter's effect to banish a Wind Synchro from our extra deck, and you're going to want to get rid of the High Speedroid Puzzle. To then reveal two Speedroid monsters with different names whose level equal the level of the monster you've just banished. So we're going to want to go with Speedroid Red-Eyed Die and then Den Daiko. Now, your opponent will randomly add one of these to your hand, the other gets sent to the graveyard. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter which one, we both want these both in the graveyard. So it doesn't matter which one we get. So one goes to the graveyard, one goes to the hand, because we're going to get the other one to the graveyard by using the Speedroid Scratch, discarding the other card in order to add a Speedroid monster from our deck to the hand, and we're going to want to add the best Speedroid monster in the form of the Terratop. You can then normal summon down the Terratop, and then this one allows us to, when it is normal or special, to add a Speedroid monster from our deck to the hand, except itself, and we're going to add our Colonel Clackers. Yes, annoyingly, the one that was missing from the deck, like, go figure. You'll then be able to use the effect of the Den Daiko in the graveyard to banish this card from the grave, special on a Speedroid tuner from the hand or grave except itself. So we're going to want to bring back our Red-Eyed Die. Now, Red-Eyed Die's effect will trigger on summon, allow us to manipulate the levels of one of our monsters. So we want to manipulate the Speedroid Terratop to make it a level 2. The reason we want to make it level 2 is that we're going to synchro utilizing both of these and go into our High Speedroid Cork Shooter. So if this card is special on, you get to activate one of the effects. Add a Speedroid spell or trap from the deck to the hand, or if all monsters that we use for its synchro summon of this card were Speedroid monsters and are now in the graveyard, special summon all of them. We can't special summon monsters the entire turn except wins, which again is absolutely fine. So we bring back the Speedroid Dice and we bring back the Terratop. It's actually really important here that we use Speedroid Eye Dice to make our Cork Shooter at level 5, because remember that this will declare a level between 1 and 6, and then you make that monster that level. So this one is now currently a level 5, so just for representation as we continue with the combo. We're then going to scale our Speedroid Colonel Clackers. So you can banish a Speedroid card from the graveyard to place a Speedroid Pendulum monster from our deck into our Pendulum Zone. Again, we can't special summon for the rest of the turn except wins, which is absolutely fine. So we've got our Daruma Knocker in our graveyard, so we're going to banish this. That will then let us scale the Speedroid Wing Synchron. So once per turn, you get to destroy this card and a level 2 Wind Pendulum monster that is in your Pendulum Zone, and if you do special summon a Clear Wing Synchro Dragon from your extra deck, and it's treated as a Synchro Summon. Very, very important. And then for the rest of this turn, cards in your Pendulum Zone cannot be destroyed by card effects, and you cannot special summon except wins, which is, again, becoming a very consistent theme. So both of these are going to go face out into the extra deck, and we're going to get access to our Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. So now there'll be a couple of effects we might want to trigger. So this is where we're going to get a bit more effects out of the back of these. So our Colonel Clackers, if this card on the field is destroyed by card effect or battle, you get to special on it's another Clacker as a tuner from the hand, deck, or graveyard. So that's what we're going to get access to right now. There we go. Just going to put that over on the far left. There we go. And then we also have the Speedroid Wing Synchron. So if this card is added to your extra deck face up and you control 2 or more different type of Wind Synchron monsters, so Machine and Dragon, we then get to send a Speedroid spell or trap from the deck to the graveyard. So you're going to want to send your Speedroid Clear Wing Wonder, which does have a very nice graveyard effect to banish it from the grave, target a Wind Synchro you control, banish it, and then return it to the field. So very nice to recycle certain effects that will be coming up a little bit later on. Now, remember, this is a level 5, so by using our level 5 and our level 7, we're going to be able to work our way into the first Synchro level 12, being our Crystal Clear Wing over Synchro Dragon. So it must be synchro summoned once per turn when another card or effect is activated. Quick effect, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. And if you do, if you destroy the monster, this card gains attack equal to that monster's original attack until the end of the turn. If this face-up synchro summon card in its owner's control leaves the field by an opponent's card, special summon a clearing from the extra deck. Very, very nice. So now what you also need to remember is that we do have a tuner on the field in the form of our Speedroid dice, but this Colonel Clackers is also a tuner. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use our Colonel Clackers and we're going to use our Terratop, and we're going to go into our High Speedroid Glider. Now normally you'd put this in defense just to give you a bit of an idea, but if this card is synchro summoned, you target a level 7 or lower wind non-tuner synchro monster in your graveyard and special summon it. If your opponent special summons a monster or monsters and you control clearing, except during the damage state, you get to banish this card from the grave, increase the levels of all monsters your opponent controls by 5, so it can just make it very awkward if they are an Xyz or Synchro Summon based deck. We're going to be able to bring back our clearing Synchro Dragon, and as you'll realise, this is a tuner and is also a level 5. So we're going to be able to Synchro again and get us access to a second copy of our Crystal Clearwing over Synchro Dragon, which is pretty insane because of how powerful this card is. And then what we're going to do here to finish off our turn is we're going to link these two together and we're going to end on a Doom Eagle. Now the Doom Eagle gains 2,400 attack while your opponent has no monsters in the graveyard, which currently they don't. But you have a quick effect to target a monster in your opponent's graveyard and then shuffle it back into the deck. So you have your own in-archetypal DD Crow, and then when we're looking at the rest of this hand, we still back this up with 4 more cards. So pretty solid combo. Yes, of course, there are some forms of interaction that your opponent might be able to interact with you, but then you still have 4 more cards to continue certain pushes depending on what you need to get access to. So that's it for the first combo. Now let's reset this and I'll show you another combo to get you into the Speedroid mood. So you saw how I did it with the brand new Darumanoka, but what if we do it with the good old favourite Speedroid Terratop? So start off by opening up Speedroid Terratop. We special summon this card down. In doing so, we get to add a Speedroid Marble Machine from the deck to the hand. As we haven't normal summoned yet, we're going to normal summon down our Speedroid Marble Machine. And on normal summon, we get to add a Speedroid monster from our deck to the hand. And hello, Darumanoka. So we're then going to do pretty much the same as I've shown you in the first combo, but let's take you through it step by step. Use Darumanoka's effect, sending Duplicate from the deck to the graveyard, and then in doing so, special summoning down the Darumanoka. Then use Duplicate's effect. Doesn't really matter which one you fully adapt, but remember you do need a tuner in order to do it. So depending on what you want to try and achieve here, we're going to bring down the Marble Machine to a level 1, because we're going to want to synchro into the Hogita. Now you don't need to go directly into the Hogita, you're basically just using it as a step-up tool in order to trigger off the Darumanoka to get you your scratch. In theory, you could just link straight into the Rubber Band Shooter. It doesn't make much of a difference either way. This will come up a little bit more importantly if you are playing a the version with the Dragoonities, because that's when you're going to be able to bring this card back and then get into your higher up link plays. So this is something for a future-proof option if you wanted to go down that route. So then use the Duplicate and your Hogita and go into your Rubber Band Shooter. Then use Rubber Band Shooter's effect, banish the puzzle, Den, and of course your Red-Eyed Die. Doesn't matter which one goes to the grave, which one goes to the hand, because we're going to use Scratch to get both of them to the graveyard eventually. Get us our Colonel Clackers. You can just see that we've done it a little bit of a different way around from the previous one. Then use your Den Duke in the graveyard, banish it from the grave, bring back Dice to manipulate Speedroid's level, Terratop's level. Synchro these two into Cork Shooter. Cork Shooter's effect, bring back Die and bring back Terratop. So again, pretty much just repeating exactly what we've already done. And then we're going to scale our Colonel Clackers. In doing so, banish a Speedroid card from our graveyard, doesn't matter which one. And then place into our Pendulum Zone the Speedroid Wing Synchron. Use Wing Synchron's effect, destroying itself with Clackers to get you access to your clearing Synchro Dragon. Trigger off Clacker's effect, special summon itself as a tuner, or another copy as a tuner, and then utilize your Synchron, your Speedroid Wing Synchron to send your Clear Wing Wonder from deck to grave, and then perform your first Synchro Summon. Remember that we manipulate the level of the Cork Shooter to a 5, gets us into our first Clear Wing over, then Terratop plus Clackers, gets you into Glider. And in doing so, Glider then brings back your Clearwing. And then you do Glider and Clearwing into a second Crystal Clearwing. And then Rubber Band and Dice into Doom Eagle. So that's kind of how quick and easy it can be from one to the other. Obviously the change was pretty much at the start on how you adapt a little bit more, and then if you are playing the Dragoonities, you could do it a little bit differently. If you want to see how the combo can be done with the Dragoonities, go and check out Metric's video. Like, they're just really good at getting combo videos out early, and they're all very, very informative, so I highly advise you doing that. So now what we could do, as I've shown you these two basic one-card combos, is we're going to shuffle up. We're going to do a randomized test hand as well, just to kind of see what the deck wants to try and do on a randomized basis. So I'm going to be back in a second. So here's going to be the randomized test hand. So this kind of show you what the deck can do on a randomized basis and what you're trying to achieve with all 5 cards in the hand. We've seen what the deck wants to try and do. So now what I'll do is I'll be quite negative in regards to certain interactions from my opponent. So we'll consider stuff like Ash Blossom, consider stuff like Draw and Lockbird. These cards will make it very, very difficult, more so Draw and Lockbird than anything. But I'll talk you through the hypotheticals of what you might be able to try and do with those particular interactions. So after a very decent shuffle and a good old cut, our starting hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, I mean, Call by the Grave is going to answer one thing directly. The duplicate is a little bit annoying to have it stuck in the hand, because you then need a way to get it from the hand. Most of the time, a lot of it you kind of don't consistently discard. So this can make some plays a little bit awkward, but we have opened up with Terratop and we have opened up with Marble Machine. So we'll start off by special summoning down Terratop. Going to use this effect to search. Now you can go one step ahead and get you direct access to the Colonel Clackers. It does give you the ability to pretty much get whatever you want. So this could allow us to save our normal summon and go straight for the the Daruma Knocker. We can still get access to the Daruma Knocker. It's not the end of the world, because we just send any Speedroid card from the deck to the grave. But not getting access to the duplicate can make it a little bit awkward in regards to like manipulating levels and everything else in between. So pros and cons to this all. So either way we do it, if we want to save our normal summon, we would go for our Daruma Knocker. If we didn't care so much about our normal summon, we'd go for the Colonel Clackers, because then we can use Marble to get the next missing piece. So we'll then use the Daruma Knocker. We'll send from deck to the grave. I mean, this is a way you can kind of not bypass Scratch completely, but it can set you up with Scratch, depending on what you want to try and do. Is that we can send, what other freeze have we got? Yeah, let's send Den, so at least I've got the guarantee of Den in the grave. Switch someone down the Daruma Knocker. We can then normal summon our Marble Machine, either way you want to do it. Marble Machine's effect on normal, add a Speedroid monster from our deck to the hand. So let's grab, you kind of want like a guaranteed extender. So for this one, because I've got the duplicate in the hand, I'm just going to go for a guaranteed extender in the form of the card turbo, because it will do the exact same job that I want it to do. It doesn't make that big of a difference. So special summon down the card turbo, and then what we want to do here, just double checking what tuning capabilities we have. I don't think we really need to tune anything. Let's go with Marble Machine and Daruma Knocker. Get us into Rubber Band. Daruma Knocker's effect, grab us Scratch. Then use Rubber Band Shooter's effect, banish in Puzzle again, wherever it may be. Grab a 3 and a 1. Of course, you could usually just add the Den, but the idea is that I want to risk this a little bit more, so we'll grab the dice. And grab Tuckentonborg. Now again, this is another way that I can get duplicate to the graveyard, but you want dice in the graveyard. So this will really kind of come down to the outcome of the randomization. And what I mean by that is, if dice gets hit into the graveyard off of the back of this, then I can use Scratch to discard the duplicate. And I've got Terratop as a Tuckentonborg as an extender. So there we go. So we'll go odds and evens. Odds. Die hits the graveyard. Tuckentonborg stays in the hand. Now we can activate Scratch. Send duplicate. And then add Clackers. That's the only one we haven't got yet in our searches. There we go. Get our Clackers. And now we're pretty much back on track, and we've got ways to extend our plays a little bit more. And if we are hit with anything, the Call by the Grave answers it. Now, in a ideal scenario, there's no guarantee that you'll always have Call by the Grave. So there will be certain points of interaction. And if your opponent has like an infinite impermanence on the Rubber Band, that can make it a little bit awkward. I mean, we'd still have extenders. It's not like the end of the world with that one. So let's go Den. Bring back Die. Die can manipulate either of these. Well, can only manipulate Terratite. It's the only non-tuner. So manipulate down to a 2. Go into Rubber Band. Cork Shooter. Cork Shooter's effect to try and revive. This is another point where your opponent could interact, and it can make it a little bit awkward, because then we'd be stuck with 2 tuners on the field, and that's where Tuck and Toll Borg would have to come into play. But it'd bring these both back. And again, that would be like an infinite impermanence. And again, because we've got speed recovery, get to target any Speedroid in our grave and special summon it. So again, we can still continue to extend. It's not by any means the end of the world. Especially when we can go Clackers for Speedroid, Wing Synchron, both of these, destroying them, putting them to the face of extra deck. Get access to Clear Wing, trigger off both the effects. So, ooh, misplay. Let's not do that yet. Let's rewind that. Forgot that I filled up the field. This is where I'm also quite tempted to play Totem Bird and Gossip Shadow. I quite like those as options for it. So Speedroid dies to manipulate Cork Shooter. This is now a 5. Always keep forgetting that step. Then I've got a Synchro 6. If I want to make a Synchro 6, which is fine, but I kind of need the Speedroid Terratop to get me into the Glider. And I can't do the Glider without having the Crystal Wing in the graveyard. So the only thing that I can do now that helps is I need to get rid of both of these. I'll need to just get rid of both of these a little bit earlier than normal, just to clear up some space. So we're going to the Doom Eagle first. Then we'll go Clackers and Synchro, destroy both of those. Get that into a Clear Wing. Special the Clackers. And special send the Trap card. And then put these two together. Gets you into your first. Goes over there. I probably want it there, to be honest, so it's not in a zone of link monster point of view, just in case. Synchro these two together, as Clackers is a tuner, and then Clackers will go face of extra deck. Gets us into Glider. Glider brings back this. Put these two together. Go into this. Again, let's put it to a zone that a link monster doesn't point to. And then from this point on, it really is up to you and depending on what you want to try and get access to. So I'm pretty sure, just double check this, I can actually add a Crystal Wing to this Enfield. Has to be a Speedroid that I target with that. Just need a level 2 tuner. I mean, I can get into a Clear Wing Fast Dragon, which would be pretty funny. It just depends on where you want to try and go. I mean, I've still got the duplicate, actually. So, yeah, maybe I can make this work. So you'd go, especially on down Titan's Borg. Of course, you could use this effect to tribute it off and do whatever you need to. But I'm just going to Synchro into Charge Warrior. And the reason I'm going into Charge Warrior is to get a draw. So, draw a card. A little bit late, but sure. We can then activate Recovery, target a Speedroid monster in our graveyard and revive it. So in this scenario, you basically just need to get back a tuner, because you'd bring back any tuner that you wanted. It's only to the end of this turn, so the card turbo is only going to be aggressive for 1 turn. I mean, actually, I could probably just make it easier. Bring back Tuck and Toll Borg. Use Tuck and Toll Borg's effect. Treat its card, especially on a Speedroid tuner from the deck. Hopefully I've got a 2 left. If I don't have a 2 left, it's not the end of the world. But what tuners do I have left? I do not. I've gone through all my tuners. I can go for a 4. The 4 doesn't actually help me. Well, maybe. Does the 4 help me? I don't think it does, actually. 1 win tuner and then 1 non-tuner win. Ooh, actually, maybe I can. So, if we go for, where's Duplicate? Duplicate, target level 2 or higher Speedroid once you control reduces level by 1. Oh, I want to increase its level by 1. Okay, I mean, I've overcomplicated this one. I should have just kept it very simple. Rather than bringing back Tuck and Tomborg, you bring back Card Turbo. You'd then have to go duplicate, banish it, just confirm with this one. It comes as a level 1. Yeah, no, because that puts it down to 3, so that doesn't do anything. So that puts this down to a 2. You'd then synchro this with your Charge Warrior. Which gets you into your Crystal Wing. And then your duplicate is kind of just stuck there a little bit. You could have used duplicate if you wanted to with the Card Turbo, but I don't think there's anything you can go in for. And then you'd set the call by and kind of pass. Again, not perfect, but like your end field is pretty stacked. Like we still got our 2 Crystal Clear Wings. We've got our 1 Crystal Wing. We've got the 1 Doom Eagle, and then duplicate is just sitting there. The only duplicate was used to manipulate a level, that's it. Call by the Ray could have been used during our turn or during our opponent's turn, doesn't make that big of a difference. The Channeler can then become a Daruma Knocker if we draw a Wind Monster, or Daruma Knocker itself. But again, this is one of them ones where if your opponent does break through this field, it does get a little bit awkward to try and rebuild. Remember that we also have the Wing Wonder in the graveyard to reset our Crystal Clear Wing. So, yeah, a couple of different options there, depending on what you want to try and go for. Like I said, this is the deck built out of the box with a very, very minimal additions. But if you wanted to make this the best possible version, I would highly be considering playing Gossip Shadow. I would highly consider playing Totem Bird. It just gives you another layer of interaction. And then Kashtira Unicorn's obviously a really good one in the main deck because you can start threatening your opponent's extra deck. You get a free Wind Extender. There's just a lot more you can kind of do with it. Anyway, hopefully this video has given you a bit of an insight into the deck, what it wants to try and do. The 2 kinds of combos of how you can start with different options but still get the exact same outcome is kind of what makes this deck really, really powerful. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.